Hey, what's up guys? My name is Aramit and I'm bringing to you my first ever World of Warcraft video. Now I know this is very late for a classic WoW buff guide, being that we just hit phase 5, but even to this day, I still get asked all the time, how am I able to consistently get fully world buffed on a weekly basis with just 1 to 2 hours of actual game time, including getting Warchief's Blessing as an alliance. Now, I'm going to assume that you're all familiar with how to get world buffs, so I'm not going to get into too many specifics, but the idea of this video is just for you to be so efficient that you're able to get the most uptime with those buffs in the actual raid. Now, for this to be successful, it does require for you to have a summon team set up with either your guild or your server may already have a taxi servers where you just pay gold to get summoned to the hot areas to get those buffs. Getting world buffs is a pretty dynamic process, so the order in which you see me grabbing my buffs in this video can be different and still be efficient. So let's go ahead and get started. To start things off, I highly recommend running over to ZG Island and grabbing a Swiftness Zanza for the increased movement speed. This will help you save some time on getting your buffs. First, I'll buy a summon over to Maul and have a cleared run ready to go. In my server, there's always a hunter selling buffs with the cleared instance. And as a melee, I always grab the spell crit buff first, the 15% HP buff second, and the 200 attack power buff last. And I do this on purpose since these are the first buffs that I'm getting. That means they'll be the first ones to get pushed off in case I hit my buff cap. And as someone that loves to parse, I don't want to lose that 200 attack power buff. Also, while I'm getting my Dire Maul buffs, I'll usually go ahead and set up my next summon so that I can save some extra time on my buffs. Next, I like to grab my UBRS Fire Resist buff. Now as a rogue, I can solo this with a mind control cap, but you can get a priest to help you do this too. Safely get summoned into Blackrock Mountain and then zone into UBRS. You'll want to find a level 55 Spellbinder pathing around, or a level 54 will work just fine too. It's very important that once you zone in and run over to them, that you wait, as they will buff themselves and put that buff on cooldown. Wait about 30 seconds after you see them buff themselves and use your mind control cap on them. Make sure to target yourself before you hit that buff. You can now log out or hearth and get set up for that next buff on an alt. This part now will vary if you are Horde or Alliance. I don't normally get Warchief's Blessing after the UBRS buff, but when I mentioned earlier that getting world buffs is a dynamic process, this is exactly what I meant. A Warchief's Blessing drop actually got confirmed while I waited for a ZG buff. So I got summoned over to our buff spot and grabbed Warchief's Blessing really quick. Horde will probably want to grab this last with their Oni buff. I won't get into too many details on how to get Warchief's Blessing for this video, but as an alliance, you need to get mind controlled over to the Horde side as the buff is going out. You can get the buff either in Orgrimmar or at the crossroads. This can be very challenging as the drops don't always get coordinated and can sometimes be ninja, which is why I had to take advantage of that earlier to not miss an opportunity. If you're interested in learning more about how to get Warchief's Blessing as an alliance, feel free to message me on Discord or hop on Twitch during one of my streams and I will gladly help you out. I'll leave my information below in the description. Let's move on. Now that the clock is ticking on Warchief's Blessing, get summoned over to Booty Bay and get your ZG buff. This part is very simple. Just log on to a level 1 alt and wait for the buff to drop. You will have about 40 seconds to log over to your main to get the buff. Then get summoned over to Felwood for Songflower. Now Songflower can be a very dangerous buff to get. So I always have a level 1 scout to make sure that there are no dispellers and it is absolutely safe to log in and grab my buff. I always try to get the buff when there's a bunch of people there getting theirs too, so my chances of being dispelled are lowered. Nova World Buffs is a great add-on to help you time your login so that you don't lose any unnecessary time on your buffs. Lastly, get back to Stormwind or Agrimar, get your Oni buff and Warchief's Blessing if you're a Horde, and you're all set to go. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video to make sure that you get all your consumables ready for the raid before getting your buffs. Get summoned to whatever raid you're gonna be doing and pump, baby. Pump, 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 and shoot for those top world parses. Now, I know I didn't talk about Dark Moon Fair, but that goes without saying. Just use common sense, be safe, be smart, and good luck. Well guys, I hope this video helps out. See you on the next one.
About to turn it on.